Good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. So, the MK party is busy. So, others have focused in Mpumalanga, others have focused in Gauteng. Jacob Zuma have went to the Eastern Cape. So, Gauteng, it is Duduzane Zuma and Sibonelo Nomvalo. And Sibonelo Nomvalo said something very powerful. Said that no, the MK party have now moved from what it used to be. It is adopted now to give opportunities to youth. The youth now is the beneficiary of opportunities of positions in the MK party, because the MK party, what Sibonelo Nomvalo has said, I will insert the clip for you so that you'll understand of what is the political gain of Jacob Zuma, since now he's appointing young stars to take up our position. But Sibonelo Nomvalo says something very interesting, just reminded me of the ANC Youth League President Colin Malaji. He said that he took swipe, by the way, of the ANC. He attacked the ANC. You can tell that the message was indirectly so attacking the ANC and calling out the ANC, or saying that no, the ANC is largely occupied by elders, people who are so very old, who doesn't want to give the youngsters opportunity, because he argued to say that the future of this country is young people. And we know how the ANC has received this from the days when the likes of Julius Malema, they were still there in the Youth League. They were calling to say that no, ANC, you must bring more people to parliament, especially young people, right? And the ANC has been refusing, and the era of Julius Malema and Floyd and others passed, and the ANC Youth League died for the longest of years. It was never resurrected. And then in a few years back, it came and it was well and alive. And it came with the agenda of saying that no, we must influence the president to make his cabinet both the old and young. The youth must participate there. The youth must now enter parliament, so that they will bring real arguments and have some real discussions about the country's future. But the ANC and the likes of President Cyril Ramaphosa and Gwede said that no, you are not coming up. Anizi, Andizi, Nani, and and they've said a lot of things, and Malachi tried to push, and he was blue ticked. This in here.
You can't go to parliament and pass a law that when you turn 65 years, you are a pensioner. But the same person who's passing the law is a pensioner themselves. How to have a parliament of people who are over 65 years, but they call themselves members of parliament, councillors, legislature, everywhere else? All those who are above 65 years must leave and allow the youth to lead. How khonal? How khonal? How khonal? They must take care of their grandkids and their kids and allow the youth who the ANC has empowered and educated to take over the country. The country can no longer be led by pensioners. The last pensioner who has led the country in this country is President Ramaphosa. He is the last pensioner. After him, there is no pensioner who will be elected to be a president of South Africa. Ramaphosa is the last pensioner. And President Ramaphosa is the last pensioner. He must tell his peers that Ratamaya no. Abo Jabo Mantashe, Lebo Paul Mashatile, or Nako Ifedile. Iskadi Sabo Sipelile, Sibapatalile for 1994. We paid them from 94 until now. 31 years we've been paying them. We can no longer pay them. Sikoloto Sifedile, the debts are closed. The youth must take over. Umqimbi uphelile abantu abadala. Kungena wethu manje. We want to take responsibility of our own future. We can't afford anymore to be led by people who are dying. We must be led by those who know that they must protect everything in their power and their future.
Now, Sibonelo Nomvalo says that the projections of what the MK party is differs overall from what the ANC is, saying that the young blood is now running the MK party. Let us take a listen here.
We are privileged to have been joined by the youngest chief whip in the country, Comrade Philasande Mkhize. I think she's the youngest chief whip in Africa, not in the country. Because as the MK party, since my arrival, we are in a mission to give young people an opportunity to live. We have the youngest first deputy president. We have the youngest secretary general. Across the country, we have the youngest coordinators and conveners of provinces. And it's an honor and a privilege because an investment to young people is an investment to the future. And we must start nurturing young people now and not wait for them to be old. Because when they are old, they are faced with serious natural limitations. It's very difficult to educate an old person because naturally that person is very stubborn and he is going to be very reluctant to learn new things because old people keep on referring to the past. They keep on saying this is what we were doing when we were young. They don't believe in change. And the reality in life is that the only thing that does not change is change itself. Change is inevitable. That is why it's important to have the leadership that is versatile and that is fluent to change. Because as society continues to evolve, it presents new dimensions every day. If you have a leadership which is reluctant to change, it means the organization being led by that organization is going, by that leadership is going to be stagnant. It is not going to grow. It is not going to appreciate new societal dynamics because it's full of stubborn individuals who are full of ageism, who keep on referring to the past even when we are living in the now. And history of South Africa, comrade, tells us that young people from 1912 played a pivotal role in changing the political landscape in South Africa. In 1912, when the ANC was formed, Dr. Pixley Keka Isaka Seme was young. He was youth. He was not old. In 1944, when there was a political lull in South Africa, young people decided to organize themselves and decided to embark on underground operations and decided to introduce a new program of action to the leadership of the ANC because they realized that the ANC was sleeping on duty. And they said, as young people, we must take the baton from people who are sleeping on duty and move forward with that baton. In the 1980s, Oliver Tambo made a call to a generation that was led by Peter Mokaba by saying they must make the apartheid unworkable and the country ungovernable. Young people of that generation responded adequately to a call that was made by Oliver Tambo. They responded by taking head-on the apartheid government, by taking head-on the apartheid regime. Young people, whether we like it or not, are valuable in the struggle, because the struggle never ended in 1994, comrades. In 1994 or 1994 presented a new chapter, a chapter which invites all of us, not only young people, to put our hands together and fight against those who continue to intimidate our economy at the expense of the black majority. Because 1994 only gave us political freedom, and political freedom without economic freedom is null and void and is useless. That is why they kept on saying, I'm not going to mention their name, and correctly so, in their policy conferences, that we have entered the second phase of the revolution. That second phase of the revolution is a revolution that fights for human solidarity and social cohesion. And human solidarity and social cohesion will never be achieved without achieving economic liberation. Black in general and Africans in particular must be freed from economic bondages, and we must have equal participation in the mainstream of the economy. 1994 failed to tamper with the ownership and control of the economy. What does that mean? It means that 1994 never responded to the aims and objectives enshrined in the Freedom Charter, because it never tampered with the control and ownership of the economy. The economy continues to be dominated by the white majority. It continues to be dominated by those who brought apartheid in order for them to have control and access and ownership of our economy. Because, comrades, I always argue that apartheid was never about hatred of black people, but it was about a desire by white people to have control and ownership of the economy. And for them to achieve that, they had to create the laws and draft the laws which are going to exclude black people from the ownership of the economy. And therefore, we have a responsibility as black people now to say the struggle continues, a luta continua. The struggle never ended in 1994.
One thing I like about Sibonelo Nomvalo is the unity that he is showing when it comes to him and the first deputy president, Duduzane Zuma. You know, these two, they make a good team for this party. And they are so very serious. They are so adamant to make things work for this political party. What's your take on this? Do you think that pretty soon maybe Jacob Zuma will go to retirement? Because we know that Jacob Zuma has the energy, the right energy, but we know that now his age, it's pretty much there. You can tell that, you know, Jacob Zuma has already blended the package of his exit there. And the coming of Duduzane has changed the entire game plan. Please leave it on the comment section below. Let us hear what is in your mind, and we'll meet on the next video. You can subscribe also to this political YouTube channel, and I'm out.